Hey everybody, this is Mrs. Cook. I'm just going through with you this PowerPoint slide on the Renaissance. If at any time you need to pause, if I'm going too fast, please hit the pause button and continue at your own pace. Alright, Standard 2B, this is what the state of Virginia wants you to know. It is that you will demonstrate an understanding of the political, cultural, geographic, and economic conditions in the world at about 1500 AD by describing artistic, literary, and intellectual ideas of the Renaissance. The Renaissance. The time period we're looking at is between 1300 and 1600, and the Renaissance is going to begin in Florence, Italy. So during the Middle Ages, Europe is going to suffer from both war and plague, and those who survived, they wanted to celebrate life and the human spirit. Renaissance means the rebirth. So the Western Europe, they had experienced a cultural awakening. It was a return to the classical cultures of ancient Greece and Rome. It signaled the beginning of the modern world. A revival of art and learning occurred. An interest in classical learning led to new intellectual movement called humanism. Alright, so here are some pictures to look at. If you look at this picture in the upper left-hand corner, this is a map of Renaissance Europe. The picture next to it should look very familiar. You learned all about it in World War. This is the Pantheon in Greece. This bottom picture in the left-hand corner should look, again, very familiar, especially this structure. This is the Colosseum, and this is located in Rome. And this last picture, the bottom right, this is a map of the world. You may have seen this in your science class. This is what it is believed that the world looked like before the continents broke apart. This might be known as Pangaea. So those are some pictures that should help you with the Renaissance. Humanism. Look at the root word of humanism. We notice the word human. Humanism is an intellectual movement that focused on human potential and achievements. It's going to focus on the secular. So it's going to be of this world. It is non-religious, not spiritual. It's going to stress individualism, which is the importance of the individual over the church. And it's going to stress the idea of human improvement. That is done through education and developing talents. Person you need to associate with humanism is Erasmus. And Erasmus is going to write a book called The Praise of Folly. And in this book, he's going to poke fun at the greedy nature of prominent people. Erasmus was a leading Christian humanist during the Renaissance. All right, Italian city-states. So overseas trade stimulated due to the Crusades, which led to the growth of city-states. So take a look at this map of Renaissance Italy. These are the city-states of Renaissance Italy. And a city-state are independent operating units. They are not a unified nation. So 3 leading Italian city-states that you need to know. The first one, the most important one, is Florence. And Florence is going to be the birthplace of the Renaissance. It is right here in this yellow area on your map. Second area you need to know is Rome. And here's Rome right here. Rome is going to emerge in about 1500 as a leading Renaissance city. It is also the home of the Pope at Vatican City. And the last city-state you need to know is Venice. Here is Venice, all the way up here, the north of the Adriatic Sea. Venice is known as a port city, meaning that it is on the water. It is the link between Asia and Western Europe, and it's going to draw traders from all over the world. Spreading of ideas. By the late 1400s, ideas from Italy began to spread to Northern Europe. So it's going to start in Italy and it's going to spread north. It's going to go to places such as France, England, Germany, and the Netherlands. So how do these ideas spread? Well, we have war, we have travel, we have trade, and the big one you need to know how ideas are spread. It is spread by the printing press, which was invented by Johann Gutenberg. He is German. He's going to develop movable type in 1456. He is going to print a complete edition of the Bible. Books are now going to be able to be printed so quickly and cheaply, it's going to make ideas much more accessible. So before this invention, any books that were printed by hand, and they were done so by the monks. So only really rich people had access to these books. But thanks to Johann Gutenberg, we now have printers and typewriters and copy machines, anything that prints your texts. Thank you, Johann Gutenberg. All right, contributions of the Renaissance. So we're going to talk about some of our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Two big ones we need to know. The first one is Leonardo da Vinci, and he's going to paint a portrait known as the Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa should look very familiar to you. You have probably seen it before. It is one of the most famous paintings around. Leonardo da Vinci is also going to paint The Last Supper. The Last Supper is a fresco painting, and a fresco painting is a technique where paint is applied to wet plaster. So the painting becomes part of the wall. So this is not something that you can move from wall to wall. It is the wall. It is stuck into the wall. The only way to move it is to cut it out. Another little fun fact here, where Da Vinci painted this fresco painting, somebody had carved a door in and took out this bottom portion of this fresco painting. So this area is a door carved into the painting. Whoopsie-doodle. Okay, next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, we have Michelangelo. Michelangelo is going to sculpt out of marble this fantastic statue called the David. Michelangelo is also going to do a fresco painting, but his is the actual ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. So if you look at this picture on the right side, this is the ceiling of this chapel. Okay, here's the ceiling here. This is a side wall right here. This is the back wall, and this is another side wall. These are all paintings of scenes from the Bible, and one very important scene from the Bible is this one right here. This is the moment when God, who is right here, looks like Zeus, had created life, or gave life to Adam, which is this figure right here. And right here are where their fingers had just touched, signifying giving life to Adam. All right, another person you need to know, and the last person we're going to talk about in this section, is William Shakespeare. He is from England. He is a writer. He's going to write really important pieces of work: Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, just to name two. Another thing he is going to write they're called sonnets. And sonnets are 16-line love poems. So boys, if you want to show a girl how much you like her, write her a sonnet, which is a 16-line love poem. 1-6. Makes all the girls happy, they're beautiful, and William Shakespeare did a fantastic job. So ladies and gentlemen, that is it. I hope you've enjoyed our time together discussing the Renaissance. Feel free to go through this again. If you have any questions, send me an email. If not, I will see you next class. Take care.